because guard play is heavy. A lot of great bigs from previous years, so I'm just trying to figure that out as well. But I think each year we steady kind of prove them wrong, because we either go deep in the run in the tournament, and we have overall success as a conference. So hopefully the bids and whoever does the selections, they kind of open their eyes a little bit.
With last year, for example, Pitt didn't get in, and a lot of people, Wake too. I mean, Wake had, but Pitt was the one that seemed to stand out, and you guys had a hell of a time with them in the ACC tournament. So I'm just kind of curious, like, what's your reaction when you see something like that as a player? Like, you're worried about yourself, but then you're like, does it surprise you, or are you kind of like, I don't get it? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think it just goes to show how much talented and deserving teams that deserve to be in the NCAA. And like you said, Pitt was one of them. I think they had a really good team and a really good record to show that. And I think this just shows that you can't overlook the ACC and our teams anymore when it comes to NCAA in the tournament, because I think we each year progressively proven to be there, whether in the Final Four or whether just in the conversation. So, yeah.
Last thing, do you think the league is getting enough respect then in that regard? For a long time, it was always the ACC is the best, and now it feels like maybe it's not the same respect.
Yeah, I mean, I think years before when I was there, I think everyone respectively was, all about the ACC, and then kind of died down a little bit. I'm not sure what the reason is, because talent's always there. There's always been a competitive and great games from all conference games. So I think we just have to continue to keep doing what we're doing as a conference-wise. And I think people will start to notice a little bit more.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. When did you make the decision to come back? Was it after Alabama? Was it before that? I mean, what went into that process, and when did you make the decision?
Yeah, it wasn't definitely not right after Alabama. I took a lot of time off to kind of just think and kind of just sit with my thoughts and emotions, just from right after Alabama all the way to the end of the month. Kind of just make sure I was making the best decision that was, made for me. It was a hard decision to be made, just because of the team we had, the year I had, and just the ultimate goal that I, want to play at the next level. So there was definitely a lot of mixed emotions and thoughts, but it took me until, I want to say, just around the deadline area to figure out if I wanted to come back or not.
What was the determining factor? And did you talk to, Mondo about, what he did and how it may have influenced you?
Yeah, I have reached out to a lot of, former players, from Mondo to Theo to Joe Barry. Had a lot of conversations with Hubert and even Coach Williams, because obviously this is a decision that's one of the hardest decisions that I ever had to make, and it probably won't be the first. So I just want to make sure I was getting just the right insight and advice from people that I've trusted and people that I know have the best interests at heart for me.
What was the determining factor?
Really just overall, I had unfinished business, and how I wanted my legacy to be remembered, and how I wanted to leave an impact not just on this program but on my teammates, my coaching staff. Because obviously wins and accolades are great, but I think life goes beyond that. And that's how I looked at it, and that's how I want my legacy to be remembered. Yep.
What is that unfinished business, RJ, specifically?
Yeah, overall, my overall goal coming to college was to win a national championship. So that's still on the table for me, and that's really the main goal.
So did you talk to Caleb Love, who also, your former teammate, who also decided to come back? Did you guys talk over the offseason about coming back into college? Both of y'all's unfinished business. Do y'all still communicate?
We didn't talk about coming back to college. I think we both had obviously a decision to be made, but we both did exchange texts just after our games, after he played Clemson, after I played Alabama. It kind of just in regards to just making sure we're uplifted and support each other, even though we're at different schools. And that was a heartfelt message for both of us, obviously, because it wasn't the way we predicted things to go, just in terms of how talented we are and how much work has to be put into our game. So we definitely reached out to one another just to make sure that we were both good, and that just shows how much of a brotherhood this goes beyond that.
Outside of winning the chip, what else is on your agenda to accomplish this season?
Yeah, obviously just the main goal for me is obviously the chip, but to lead these young guys, to take on that leadership role, to embrace that. I'm now the old guy, I'm the veteran, so it's definitely weird, but I'm embracing it, and that's like really my main goal is to make sure that we're aligned with what we want to do as a team, and overall just be able to play there the first week of April.
RJ, to what extent have you taken Ian Jackson under your wing, and how receptive has he been to your advice? Can you share any of the advice you maybe have given him?
I mean, so I've known Ian for a couple of years, just in terms of, I was his host on his visit, and just having those New York connections. He went to Cardinal Hayes, I went to Steppanet. And so and like my little brother's Boogie Flan, so I had connections to him before he got onto campus, but really just kind of taking him under my wing, because I know how talented he is, I know how great he could really be, not only for himself but for this team, and really just showing him the way, making sure his mental's good, because as a freshman you're always going to have your ups and downs. That's just how it goes. I've had it. Because I didn't have nobody my freshman year coming into it. I was kind of just throwing the fire and figure it out. So kind of just be that mentor for him, just to make sure that he's doing the things that he's needed to do, and just kind of just take everything as a professional. That's like the main thing for him, because he's gonna be really good for us.
Did you ever put in for draft consideration or like get feedback from the NBA about what your prospects were?
Yeah, so I did the little
like
advisor thing, but I didn't do any draft workouts or any like I didn't go through the draft work of the draft process. Obviously, that was a hard decision for me to be made, in kind of just terms of like being right there.
Right.
But in my mind, is I wanted to be either all in or not. I didn't want to have one foot in, one foot out.
Right.
So that was like my mindset of going into the offseason, how I wanted to approach the whole draft process and whatnot.
Yeah. Has you done that in previous off seasons?
Yeah.
Put in for the advisory stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I put in for advisory stuff and got the feedback that was needed for me to be able to make my decisions.
When you talk about legacy, I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
No.
Is part of that scoring more points than anybody's ever scored at this school before? Because that's on the table.
Yeah.
If you have a season this year like you did last year, you might pass Hansbrough.
Yeah, and I think just putting that to perspective is kind of wild to me, just because in terms of like Hansbrough did that in 4 years.
Yeah. He was an animal.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I'm not really, having on my mind of, I have to score this amount of points to beat the school record, to beat the scoring record. It's really just about my legacy in terms of impacting this team, impacting this community, and kind of just winning. I think winning creates that impact, winning creates that legacy, and that's really overall the goal for me. Obviously, if I break the record, I'll be tears of joy, happy.
Sure.
But no, I'm not having that heavy in my heart, heavy in my mind that I have to go out there and repeat last year. I think if I do that, that just creates unnecessary pressure. And it's my 5th year, it's my last year, so just go out there, have fun, just hoop like I know how to.
Could have a situation where Armando has the all-time rebounding record and you have the all-time scoring record.
Yeah, that would be crazy, just because just being with Mondo for the past 4 years and going through ups and downs and our hardship battles that we had, and for him to be the all-time rebounding and for me to be the all-time scorer, that would be just crazy. And I think that's just shows like how much we've meant to this program and how much hard, sweat, and tears we put into it.
It wouldn't just be Carolina's all-time leading scorer; it would be the ACC's all-time.
Oh, really?
I wasn't gonna mention that part.
Because
that.
Tyler is the ACC's career scoring leader.
I never knew that.
So if you get the one, you get the other. Yeah.
That's mind-blowing to me. So, I was like, it's crazy because I never really would have thought me coming into my freshman year that I would even be in this position, to even be put into that perspective, to be in this position or situation to break a scoring record. I did in high school, but college is a lot harder. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity and just grateful for the years and the work ethic I put into to put myself in this position.
When you talk, RJ, you're talking about trying not to feel like you have to one-up yourself from last year in terms of the individual stuff.
Yeah.
Is that a real thought that you're having as you're trying to get ready? Because last year obviously was, as Hubert said, historic. I mean, it was wild, the numbers.
It was.
I mean, is that something that you're trying to tell yourself, like, I don't have to score 21 points a game or whatever?
Oh, I'm not saying I don't have to score.
Okay, all right.
I think score is my forte, but
right.
nah, just more so of just like not putting into perspective like I have to go break these records. If I don't, then like this is an unsuccessful year. No, like I'm not seeing that at all. I'm more so of like I'm gonna have to score. I know what's gonna be coming. I know people are gonna be targeting me, but Coach Davis always expresses never run from it, run towards it, and I've embraced that, and I'm confident in doing that. So if I have the same year as last year, so be it. I'll be happy with that. But kind of just my overall game progressing the way I want it to progress, and I know how I can do it. That's like my overall goal for this upcoming year.
So how do you kind of handle the fact that you said everyone's going to be targeting you this year defensively? How do you kind of keep it going, when the scouting report is going to be designed to try to score?
Kind of just picking my poison, taking it what the defense gives me. Obviously, I know like there's a lot of teams that are going to be playing defensive coverages different against me, so it's kind of just this will be a true test into my playmaking skills. We have a lot of score wings and guards that's able to score at will this year, and it kind of just makes me able to kind of put myself in the right position, but at the same time put my trust in my teammates as well.
RJ, how would you say this year's team differs from previous years, and what would you say the biggest strengths are for this team?
Yeah, I mean, this team is different in terms of our athleticism. This is probably the most athletic team I ever played with at UNC. So, and obviously Carolina's known for our fast pace, but I think it's going to be faster in terms of we always had a post presence in previous years, but this year is going to be a little bit more spread out. So I think our strengths for this year is going to kind of just being able to play up-tempo, use our athletic abilities to get up and down and finish at the rim. But our overall confidence, I think the overall confidence for this team has the potential to do a lot of great things. So that's what we're relying on.
You spoke before about your relationship with Coach Davis, and I'm sure in your 5th year, have you sat and thought about maybe what your presence on the team can do for his legacy as a coach, and what maybe he can talk to players about in the future about what they can accomplish at Carolina based off of your example?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I really put that into perspective and really thought about that, but I think it's just a true testament to me kind of just trusting Coach Davis and our relationship, because he's always put me in great positions to be who I am, and that started from the day he recruited me to my 5th year now in college. And when you have a coach like that believes in you, has the ultimate confidence in you, to kind of just go out there to play your game and not just have any worries about looking over your shoulder to see if you're getting subbed out, it allows you to do great things. And so I really do appreciate Coach Davis for allowing me to do that. And that speaks to the type of coach he is, but the type of person he is.
You mentioned pace. Obviously, you have to hit stops to run. Who has stood out on the defensive end that you've seen so far in camp?
Yeah, I mean, Seth Trimble. I mean, I think he's been phenomenal all offseason. And just in terms of his ability to be defensively, like I think he showed glimpses of that last year. But we know he could be one of, not if, the best defender in the country. I mean, me and him have battles every day in practice, kind of just going at it. So I make him better, he makes me better. And Seth has been like extremely good in practice on the defensive end. But then also Drake Powell, just with his length, his athleticism, his anticipation to get into the passing lanes. So those real 2 people have really been stuck out on me for defensively. Yeah.
RJ, you guys have competed so hard that occasionally you kind of got into some scraps. You take us through that, what that's like.
Yeah, I think this is like a big brother, little brother connection we have. So there's been times where I'll get a stop on Seth, or Steph will get a stop on me, or I'll score on him. It'll just be constant back and forth. But that just speaks to our relationship, our brotherhood, and it makes us better at the end of the day. When there's a saying, iron sharpens iron, and by doing that, it kind of makes the games easier. Especially when you have a phenomenal defender like Seth, guarding you full practice, 94 feet, getting into the passing lanes, getting over screens. It allows me to be a better player, be a better scorer, be a better playmaker, and vice versa. So, and I think strength is like our competitive edge. Competing sometimes is we get at it and we just get into each other's heads. So that just speaks on just how bad we want to win as a team, but overall just make each other better.
What's on your checklist for this year?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it seems like it shouldn't be, but I mean, there's a lot in terms of winning a national championship. My main goal for real is like win a national championship, but also just be a better leader, like on and off the court, vocally, and just because I'm now the older guy, I'm now a veteran, and there's a lot of younger guys and inexperienced, so kind of just taking them under my wing, showing them the Carolina way, but at the same time that understand that what's at stake, and each game matters. We're in the University of North Carolina, everyone's going to throw their best shot at us, so kind of just getting them to have that mindset to play 110% every game.
There are some statistical achievements historically that you can achieve this year. Armando was pretty open about wanting those marks. How do you process scoring and some of the other spots that you can end up historically in this program at the end of the day?
Yeah, I don't really try to obviously I know like what's at stake in terms of beating the scoring record, but I don't want to put my main focus on like I have to be UNC's all-time scoring. That's just really not my main focus, not my key emphasis on this year. Yes, obviously it'd be great if I get it, but really just taking it one step at a time, and being able to be the leader, being able to be the player that I know I can be, and kind of just overall improve my game in all aspects.
So if it happens, it's a byproduct of the season.
If it happens, it happens. You guys will see me smiling from ear to ear.
RJ, I will be too.
I don't think so.
RJ, inside.
A lot of different teams. All of them are kind of different in their own ways. How is this particular team different from the ones from the past? And what is it about this team that you can say, like, I may not be able to guarantee much, but one thing I can guarantee about this team is that we will be this. You will see this. What is that?
Well, I mean, we will compete, and we will be a gritty team. I think one thing that's so different about this team is our athleticism and the talent. Like, the talent, like, from the backcourt to the front court is remarkable. You have 2 5-stars, 2 NBA draft prospects, maybe even 4 with Seth and Elliott. So I mean, it's just in terms of the talent, the potential that this team has is through the roof. And I think once we realize that, and once we actually put that into perspective, we'll be more than fine.
RJ, Armando and Harrison accounted for a lot of points and rebounds last season. Where are those inside points and rebounds going to come from this season?
I think it's going to be a collective team effort from everybody, from the guards to the bigs. Obviously, having Mondo, his post presence and his rebounding skills was one-on-one, as Coach Davis describes it, and that's hard to replace. But it allows other guys to step up. It allows other guys to show their full potential. But it's going to be a full team effort, to box out and to get those rebounds, so we can go have fun on the offensive end.
Who have you seen that's impressed you in practice in the front court?
Jayla Washington and Jayla Winters have been extremely great, just in terms of their presence on both ends of the floor. They're obviously having Mondo last year on the defensive, like as the anchor. And I think Jay Wash and Jay Witt and Vin have really taken a big step in terms of using their voice, being a presence under the rim on both ends of the floor. So I've been really impressed by their play as far.
RJ, every year from freshman, sophomore, junior, the whole way you've improved your scoring average, and some of it has jumped up quite a bit. Like from junior to last year, it's like 5 points per game.
Yeah.
Does that just speak to what you address in the offseason individually, the work you put in to taking your game where you want it to go the next coming season? I mean, is that a product of the work?
Yeah, I think one thing about me is I think I improve in every aspect of my game, even just from high school. It's always been a huge jump just because I put the work into it. And when you do that, you trust your work and you trust your confidence, you trust your beliefs of what you're able to do because, that's what you rely on in the offseason. And I think, showing that through my past few years from sophomore and now to senior, you can see those jumps, you can see those progressions. Because that's what I pride myself on. Not taking a day off, not taking a step back, holding myself accountable whenever I feel like I'm not playing to my best of my abilities. Because I know I'm better than that, I know my capabilities. So kind of just improve every year and improve my strengths but also my weaknesses.
Just talking about Drake, has anything kind of surprised you?